mean to be a journalist in a country that has no right to information? As the West African sub-region prepares for the West Africa Media Excellence Conference and Awards coming in Ghana on Friday, actually on Saturday, that will be the event. My colleague Justice Beidou finds out from some of the untold stories of journalism practice in the following report.
Hailed the world over as the fourth estate of the realm, the media is one of the most critical institutions speaking truth to power and demanding accountability the world over. Here in Ghana, a vibrant media is one of the reasons why the country's democracy is so robust. But who are the people behind the journalism content that we wake up to every day? And what price do they pay doing the work that they do? My name is Justice Beidou, and in this film for Joy News, I will be finding out.
The Ghana Institute of Journalism, the country's oldest media training center, a center of excellence for communication training in Africa. Here, the next generation of journalists put in their all, hoping to land their dream job.
Journalism has always been my passion. And then as I was growing up as a child, through junior high school, I was encouraged by most of my teachers to pursue it because they could see it in me, like the way I express myself and how good I am with the English language. So I think it's my passion. That is the reason why I chose journalism.
Why do I want to be a journalist? Well, I have a passion for it. I love it. I love the job. So I would like to be a journalist and work in a reputable media house, or probably have my own media house and then employ people by God's grace. Years to come.
For one, I want to fight for the people in Ghana. That's why I chose journalism.
So what does being a journalist mean?
My name is Manasa Asura. I am a senior broadcast journalist with the Multimedia Group.
This is one of Ghana's most celebrated investigative journalists. In 2016, he broke one of the biggest stories involving the president.
It was a few months to election and the atmosphere was very charged, and that was when we had to go public with the story about he accepting a Ford gift from a Burkinabe contractor who was doing business with the state, and some of those contracts had issues. So it raised questions about conflict of interest, bribery, and abuse of office. So we had to bring this to the fore.
That single story, like many he had done before, put his life on the line.
I have feared not only with that one, but a number of the stories I have done. Jida, Sada, people are involved, and I've done stories like the Ali Gaba story. Someone is in jail. So when the case even went to court, some journalists were attacked when they went to report on the Ali Gaba story in court. So if the family would attack those who are reporting in the court, then you can imagine that the one who actually brought up the entire investigation wouldn't be spared if perhaps they had him. It is dangerous, I know that, but anybody or any professional should stand for something, and standing for something should mean that you stand for it, even if it will cost you your life. So at the end of the day, that's what keeps me going.
Manasa has been lucky, one too many times, but many others haven't.
That incident it's haunted me for all these years.
Emmanuel Ante has been working at Joy News for the last 5 years. In 2012, when dispute over Ghana's election result boiled over, he was on the front line, leading Joy News' coverage.
The events as they happen, when they happen.
Well, at this point, it is almost clear the NDC's candidate, John Dramani Mahama, has won the 2012 election. The party has secured a majority in parliament. The MPP has disputed the poll and are threatening to go to court. There's tension in some parts of Accra. We are receiving reports of pockets of violent clashes.
He set out to do his work, but that would be the beginning of his peril.
On that fateful day, I was deployed to go and cover some chaos that was happening at the NPP headquarters. We were told that people with machetes are driving some of the supporters and party officials away from their offices. So we went there to cover. I wanted to get the story, what I was seeing. My instincts just could not let me just leave it like that. So I got down out of the car, and then they went ahead. So they came back to the office, and I was using an iPhone that we were giving. So I took shots of the guy who's been stabbed, bleeding, and then them trying to pick him to the hospital and all that. And then I suppose one of the guys who was involved in the attack of that person who's been stabbed started murmuring. I mean, was saying some things to the others who were standing right before him. And so immediately I descended. I got down from the bridge and went down and got through to the brass pot. And that was where the real demonstration was happening. They chased that from one point, from the brass pot point. They chased us, and then they got to us because parts of them were coming from behind us, and then the others also met us just like that. So they beat us a bit, and then the others managed to escape because their car was just close by. So they just sat in the car and then just sped off. But for me, my car had gone, so I was trying to find my way out. By the time I realized I was on the floor because I had some painful bang at my back. They hit me. I was trying to call. They even took the phone I was holding away from me and all that. I was trying to crawl my way out. It was scary. I almost thought I was dying. The taxi driver just stopped right in the middle of the road and then just opened the back of his door and pulled me inside. And then they started hitting the taxi driver's car, but he sped off. And my legs were hanging out of the car whilst he was going.
But for many others, journalism is a great job. One of the women who have made a mark in Ghana is Shamima Muslim. In 2016, she formed the Alliance for Women in Media initiative, which she says is to help women in journalism who are the most disadvantaged.
The lack of visibility of women in journalism is a challenge. If we see them, they have to have some clout. It means that they should have some relevance in the media landscape. There's a challenge there because you want to find out what are women in media doing, what products are they producing, what stories are they writing, what strides are they making. If we can't give as many examples for women as we can give for men, obviously means that there's some underrepresentation. Then we need to find out why. So there are challenges to entry, as I've said. Professional development is a challenge. Maternal call becomes a challenge to you as a woman in terms of your career progression because you take time off to have babies. I've had to virtually turn my home into an office now because I've taken quite a long time off the media, to focus on family. And it has cost professionally.
Ghana is a shining example of a country with a free media space. In fact, the country currently ranks 26th on the World Press Freedom Index and second only to Namibia in Africa. But even here, the challenges in journalism practice are stuck.
As an investigative journalist, I think the biggest challenge is because there's no right to information law here. The latest investigation I did, I wrote to 5 or so government agencies, and none of them responded. Nobody found it necessary to even give me the information, even though I needed it. They used flimsy excuses, and as I speak, I don't have that information. Now what we rely on is if you have a few people who are able to sneak something to you, or you're able to use some backdoor means to get some information, but a lot of the time you don't even get everything. So if we had the right to information law, it would make the work of investigative reporters easier, it will make it more comprehensive, it will make it more detailed.
Our employers, for them, they want the job to be done. They want the content on our platforms. But when it comes to the effects of that, it seems it's only remembered on the day. But after that, I mean, you're left to your fate.
In 2001, the country repealed the criminal libel law, which opened the space for more voices in the media landscape. But a right to information law, which will make access to news content easier for journalists, has been on the table for nearly 10 years. Because journalism is such a necessary tool for a nation's development, no country could do without it. It is imperative countries like Ghana show the way in creating an even freer space for the industry to thrive. Justice Baidu, Joy News.
Justice Baidu's reports there. Now, the West Africa Media Excellence Conference is coming off on Friday. That is tomorrow at the Movenpick Ambassador Hotel. And then on Saturday, we'll have the awards event. This is a partnership with Joy News and the Media Foundation for West Africa. Now, the pathologist who carried out post-mortem on Army Major Maxwell Adam Mahama has blamed police investigators for his inability to release the full autopsy report 4 months after the gruesome murder of the soldier. Major Mahama was on May 29, 2017, lynched by a mob at the central region town of Denchwa-Boase, with 23 persons currently standing trial before the court for the act. The court on October 10 ordered the pathologist Dr. Lawrence Edusei and the head of the 37 Military Hospital Pathology Department to appear before it to explain. My colleague Joseph Akable has more in the following reports. What we understand, by the way, is that some body parts of the dead major are missing.
The order by the magistrate was to fast-track proceedings. The expectation of prosecutors was that they would have laid hands on the report by October 26. Dr. Edusei, who carried out the post-mortem, however, had an explanation for the delay. He attributed it to lack of cooperation from police investigators. He said he had requested for the crime scene officer in charge of ballistics, and investigators to appear before him to assist in his work. This, he told the court, had not been complied with. He also said parts of the body of the deceased could not be traced, as he was uncertain who had taken it and for what purpose. When asked why he had not contacted authorities after encountering this difficulty, Dr. Edusei said he had in the past encountered a challenge of non-payment of allowances due him by the Judicial Service, something which deterred him from pursuing the matter. In defense, police prosecutor DSP George Amega rejected a claim by the doctor. He argued the law provided for the pathologist to formally write to the police to place any request if he encountered difficulty. This, he said, had not been done. Magistrate Ebenezer Kwekwansa handed the pathologist 3 weeks to collaborate with the police investigators to ensure the report is ready. The case will be back here at the Accra Central District Court on November 23. What remains to be seen is whether the autopsy report will be available. Reporting for Joy News from the Accra Central District Court, I am Joseph Akable.